Have you seen her parent? She's having a lot more fun than we do. So much of the dilemma was the terror that you were effing it all up.
Yes, exactly. The certainty that I was effing it all up. It's a good job and you're being a good mom. Just to hear those words would have been phenomenal.
Welcome to the How to Deal podcast. I'm your host, Eli Harwood, aka The Attachment Nerd, and I am so glad that you're here with me. I'm so thankful to get to share you with the world and your wisdom of nuggets that are hard-won nuggets of wisdom.
There we go. This wasn't landing.
I'm so curious to hear what the 5 things are that you came up with to help all of us who are working our butts off, trying to give our kids secure legacies, trying to break the insecure legacies and abuse cycles that we came from. Let's get started. What's number 1?
Okay, this is number 1, but these are in no particular order. One of the things that I would say to me as a young mom was, you're doing great. You're doing the best you can, and it's just good enough. So stay in that place that you're okay. You're not totally messing up your kids. You're loving, you're doing your best.
It's really interesting that that's what you would say to the younger you, because you've had to process all of the things that we've come back and said weren't great.
They weren't great, but if somebody had said, you're doing well, you're doing fine, that would have been huge.
It would have helped, because so much of the dilemma was the terror that you were effing it all up.
Yes, exactly. The certainty that I was effing it all up. Yeah. Yeah, it would have been nice to hear somebody say, you're a good mom. You're being a good mommy.
I really wish that Grandma could have done that for you. It makes me so sad that she couldn't do that.
I really wish she could have too. Yeah, that would have been huge, but it would have been a different person.
She never had a mother watching her mother. So I think there was like a module missing. Hey, this is a part of my role as a mom, is to encourage my daughter and her parents.
And she had sisters who were also parenting at the same time, but they didn't share. They didn't share the hard things or the good things, or they just, I don't know what they did actually.
Avoid anything that was messy or complicated or emotional, because that was the family legacy.
The next one would be, don't let judgment of others get to you. Just let it go. Should I sing it? It's very hard to do. And I didn't do it. So you have to have done some work, I think, to be able to do that.
Do you do that now? Like when you feel judged by people for what's going on in your parenting as a parent of adult children, do you ignore judgment?
I work at it. I do a lot better than I did before. My mom was here until just a couple months ago, and it went on till the very end. But I was better at it, separating out from her and her judgment. But as a young mom with kids and parents who really thought children should be robots, it was really tough.
Say she felt that till the very end.
She felt that to the very end. The children should be little robots sitting on the couch.
I know, but then can we talk about, 2 things. As she started to have dementia, it was almost like it was revealing this like inner part of her that wasn't judgmental. And that's when she said to our friend Heller Sue about me, have you seen her parent? She's having a lot more fun than we did. And that was so shocking to hear her say that. And then the last time she saw my girls, they were being wild ruffians. They were like hiding in her closet, crawling around her chair, and she was giggling the whole time.
That's amusing. I'd like to have seen that.
I know, but I think at the end of the day, when people are judging our parenting, especially if they're judging us for being connected or kind, or they're judging our kids for like normal developmental stuff, it's truly because they never had permission to be a kid. They never had permission to be a genuine, authentic mom. It's really not even about us.
No, it's not about us at all. It's not about us. And which leads into number 3, is let your children be children. Let them be curious and playful and safe. I remember seeing one of the grandkids. Obviously, I've seen them all play and be silly and kids. And at one point I thought, oh my gosh, that's the way kids are supposed to be. They're supposed to just be silly and playful and feel safe doing it, not be walking on eggshells because mom and dad might explode.
Totally.
Mhm.
Totally. I feel like you really did that with us.
I wasn't very playful. I'm still not very playful, but I don't feel like I did.
You don't feel like you let us be kids?
I think I would have taken joy in a lot of things that a lot of different behaviors that I thought I needed to correct.
I guess I didn't feel like you were constantly correcting me.
Good.
So
You.
there's that. But okay, so and that maybe that's the difference is like different dynamics with each kid. I also do remember you creating fun. I remember feeding the ducks at the park.
Oh.
You know, there's play in that.
Well.
I remember you let me dress up in your nightgowns and put makeup all over, and we had play kitchens, and I don't know.
That's true. There was playfulness.
Yeah, and you were struggling, and so I think you didn't get to enjoy it the way that I have maybe gotten to enjoy it. I don't enjoy it all the time.
No, nobody does. Which again, there's another one. Actually, I'm going over 5, but one of them is don't compare your parenting because you're different than I did have friends who would crawl around on the floor and play elephants with their kids and those kinds of things. And I thought, oh, she's doing it right. But she did it differently and it's fine.
And she had different obstacles probably. Like,
Oh,
had different things
absolutely.
that she was working through, and I know
Of course. And actually she's a preschool teacher now. And that was part of her gift.
I always tell people, I'm like, there are parts of this thing that I'm doing really well, and there are other parts that just don't come natural to me, and I probably am eking by with a passing grade. And that's okay because there are other people in my kids' lives who are good at those things. Ask me to sit down and draw. I can do it for 30 seconds, and then I'm like, this is not my thing. But Trevor can draw with them for hours.
Yeah, it was so cool.
But ask Trevor to play dress up.
Yeah,
And
not so much.
else can do that for hours.
For hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Or be really good at packing the lunch that they love, or be, there's so many components to this. No one is comfortable and competent in all of it. Don't compare yourself.
Don't compare yourself and let others be the pieces that you aren't. Let them in. I always said this, and I don't know that we provided it that well, but that kids need other adults in their lives besides their parents because they do. I mean, your parents, as parents, you can complement each other, but also aunts and uncles and friends of the family and people who can play elephants with them.
Yes.
And you can watch
Neighbors.
teachers, all kinds of people. Right.
It takes a village.
It does take also a segue is meeting your children, each of your children in their uniqueness. We're not going to parent each of our children the same way. We're going to do the same basics. We're going to do the same loving and providing them that secure attachment as best we can. But they need different things. Your brother, he wanted to be up in the top of a tree. You have a daughter who wants to be in the top of a tree. And to not squelch that. I mean, that's their adventurous part and they're happy. So not to say, no, you don't do that at a wedding, at a wedding reception outside. Stay out of the tree, honey. But again, that's letting them be kids, but in their way, in their interests, and not expect them to really have your expectations not be about you, but about what gives them joy.
Oh, it's so hard. It's so hard because you have to go, okay, is my reaction to this really about helping my child be safe or helping my child learn a skill? Or is it that my child is teaching me about something that I need to learn to be more comfortable with, and a way of being in the world that isn't natural for me, may never be, but is necessary for them?
That's right. That's right. And that's a big stretch. And to help you get there, talking about the village, I think we as young moms, once I was a young mom, need our own village. We need to have people around us who we can turn to, who we can share the joys and the hard things, who can listen and who we can listen to, so that we're not just doing this without support. When our family can't give us support, then we reach outside of the family, which I did not do enough of. I had unity, but not to any depth. And I think that would have been, I watch you and your community of gals, and I think it's just awesome how you can support each other. And it doesn't mean it's always a beautiful rainbow thing, but you work through those tough times and you're still there and sharing.
Oh, so much labor to regulate our kids' emotions, so much labor. And I feel like my survival has been having other people who then regulate me, and I regulate them, and we regulate each other so that our nervous systems are buffered enough to go back into the Lord of the Flies without fully developed limbic systems and prefrontal cortexes. So I think that's beautiful. Yes, we need a village that helps us in raising our kids, and we need a village that helps us in regulating ourselves. And those are two different things.
Yeah, they are. But the regulating ourselves and the fueling ourselves through those other people, because we can't turn to our kids to fuel us, even though that happens sometimes. But that's not ideal. That's not what we want. We want to be fueling ourselves so that then we can turn and give to our kids.
Of it as kids are always going to be a part of what fills us up, but not their responsibility to fill us up. So even if they are the reason we are feeling empty, still not their job to fill us up. It's our job to figure out how do we refill. And
it's well put.
Hard.
Exactly. It is very hard, but so important. I just think we don't give up our lives as individual women. We tend to. It's easy to do, but it's better if we don't, if we have still that individual sense of self in the midst of raising children and giving them the best that we can give them.
Yeah, they matter and we matter. And for the 5 men who are listening to this, you matter.
Yes,
we love that you're here. And, it's so important that we are doing the things we can. And sometimes that's locking ourselves in the bathroom for 5 minutes just to breathe and remind our bodies that we are not punching bags or jungle gyms or whatever the thing is. Because when we lose ourselves in the process of being a parent, then our kids can't rely on us.
Yeah,
conundrum.
And it becomes about us instead of about our kids. Because I think when we are empty or getting close to empty, we tend to take things more personally. It hurts more instead of realizing. And the interesting piece of this too is punching bags or dumping grounds. It changes over the years and becomes more of an emotional experience. And so you have to be built up emotionally to be able to not take it personally, to be able to reflect that this is my kid's thing and I need to be there where they need me.
This is why you are watching my kids tonight, and I'm having a night alone with my sweetheart, because I am not on empty, but I've got a quarter tank, and I need to be careful because I can feel it. And the last night I was with Slate. We were out to dinner late talking with some friends about middle school choices and blah, blah, blah. And he wanted to have a Coke. And so I don't let him have caffeine anyway, normally. I'm like, no, we don't have caffeine in our bodies. And so I said, no, we're not going to have a soda. It's too late, whatever. And he just melted down and melted down for another hour or so. And at some point was telling me I didn't love him. And I think that takes so much stamina to there and not want to lash back. Or I think of the dramatic, a knife has come into my chest, all over in martyrdom. Just say that to your mother who loves you so much. But to just say, I'm so sorry you're having a hard time. I love you so much. We're going to go to sleep. And of course he said, fine, get out of my room. And then I could hear a little kind of regret in his voice at the very end of saying that. I said, do you really want me to leave your room? And he's, I don't know. I said, I said, okay, I'm going to come hold you. And I just wrapped my arms around him and held him, and he fell asleep in my arm after having told me I don't love him. And I think that's the emotional part you're talking about. It's different than the 2, 3, 4-year-olds crawling on you and banging at your head, or the breastfeeding child biting your nipples, or whatever the thing is. But it's still there. It's just like they need us to be able to be sturdy enough that they can be their authentic selves, and we can help them learn how to cope with all of the crazy emotions that come with being a human. And that's the key of what you're saying. It's if you don't take care of yourself, you can't be sturdy. And if you can't be sturdy, then what happens is your kids start taking care of you. And backwards.
It gets backwards. And I think the word you use is really appropriate, stamina, because we run out of stamina as the day goes on, as the weeks go on, if we aren't making sure to keep ourselves refilled. At least you just can't go on
with whatever faucet we have available.
Yes, right.
Let's have full running water. Other of us have to wait for the rain and collect little drips. And, it's not evenly distributed. Before we continue on this episode, I wanted to take a minute and make sure that you knew about the Secure Parenting Program that I created for anyone who is determined to work through the generational stuff they got handed to you and recreate that into patterns of security with your own kids. It's a 6-module program that has a lifetime access. So once you sign up, you're in forever. And it comes with a monthly live Q&A, virtual Q&A with me, as well as support groups so that you can actually access real life people who can bear witness to what you're going through and help coach you through ways to respond that feel good to you and in line with your values. If you are ready to join the SPP, I am so excited and so ready to see you there. Head to attachmentnerd.com. There's also a link in the show notes. And as always, if this is not something that you have the financial means to afford, I want you there anyways. So there is a pay what you can option. Get yourself in there, get information that you need in order to give your kids what it is that they need. Okay, back to the show. Yeah. What else you got? What are we on? What number did we?
Yeah, that was them.
Read them through in order, just all the way through again.
It's telling that you're a young mother, that you're doing well. You're loving your kids, you're letting them know, and you're doing a good job, and you're doing the best you can, and that is great. And keep going and keep growing and keep learning to do.
Oh, that's so good.
Keep
going and keep growing. Keep going and keep growing.
Don't let judgment of others get to you. Remember that that's about them. It's not, and as you said earlier too, my mother's judgment of the kids was probably more about her missing out on that than it was about anything else. Let your children be children, curious, playful, and safe. A lot of times we get so stuck in, I've got to raise this into a competent human being, instead of, this is part of raising and part of being there, is they get to be children, because it doesn't last forever. And then they get adulting and they say, I don't want to do that anymore. Meet each of your children in their uniqueness. Our basic parenting standards can be similar, but each child needs different things from us. We can't just say, I'm just going to throw this in there. When I worked in adoption, and families that already had children had a strong expectation that their adopted children would just fit in line with the way they raise their other children, which is foolish. And it's foolish to think each of our children needs the same thing from us. And create and maintain and prioritize a community that supports you. And I put a community of women because it would be typically, but sometimes men step in there and do our great part of the village as well.
Thank you. I love every piece of that. I needed to hear some of those.
You do. Yeah.
That was a good reminder. And for me, thank you so much for being a part of my village and for being the model of somebody who keeps going and growing and has forgiven. I think watching you forgive yourself for things that you can't change helps me do that for myself. And yeah, it's such a gift.
And that's not easy. So keep doing it. Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. And I hope that it's helpful to somebody somewhere. And it was helpful to you. So to me, that's good.
Successful first podcast. Yeah. I love you so much.
I love you.
Okay. Right. See you later. Okay. I had to interrupt this because I'm so excited. I just finished another book. It's titled similar to this podcast. It's called How to Deal. But there's a little more of a tagline, how to deal with your blank so your kids don't have to as much. An encyclopedia for ditching your emotional baggage. I went through, from the research perspective, from my clinical experience, from listening to you all online and your experiences with your parents, like what are the things that are getting in between parents and children? What do we need to learn so that our kids aren't carrying our emotional baggage? There's a first section that goes through how to deal when you're feeling angry, how to deal when you're feeling stressed. I don't know anybody else ever feel stressed around here. And then a second section, bad habits that we formed when we didn't know how to deal with some of these feeling states because no one was helping us learn how to. So how to deal with a people-pleasing habit, how to deal with a blame habit. These are the type of things that erode that sense of trust between us and our kids. And I wanted to give us a very easy to use almanac where you can flip to the section that you know you're dealing with and get some very sound practical advice on what you can do to grow, as well as further reading resources and scripts that you can use with yourself to help you feel some compassion towards yourself as you figure out how to do better. It's for pre-order now. please pre-order. It makes a huge difference in the life of a book. It makes sure that retailers know this is information that people want, and they help get it out there. And it would be just such a gift to me. The link is in the show notes. You can also go wherever you buy books. Look for the How to Deal Eli Harwood. You'll find it. I cannot wait to hear how you experience it. Back to the show.